51 years ago today, Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys was released. Often considered to be one of the most influential albums in music history and thereby widely perceived as a classic or perfect album, Pet Sounds was a highly risky project produced and arranged by Brian Wilson, who wrote almost all of the music. Well, risks pay off sometimes, and boy, did the boys reap the benefits. In 2004, Pet Sounds was preserved in the National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. 1 year earlier, Rolling Stone ranked it second on its list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. As of 2015, Acclaimed Music lists Pet Sounds as the most statistically acclaimed album of all time. I've never heard Pet Sounds before, so let's see if it holds up in 2017 with a new pair of ears. I knew that Pet Sounds had big shoes to fill. Hell, giant shoes to fill. It's not every day you get to experience an album that is praised by so many for the first time. I was excited going into this project. I knew enough about it. Of course, I've heard Wouldn't It Be Nice and God Only Knows before, and I do love those songs.
God only knows what I'd be without you.
I never really realized how dark this track is. The flourish of strings, the pulsing organ, and of course, the Beach Boys' soaring harmonies make for a gorgeous listening experience. However, there's an underlying darkness and heartbreak to this track. The second verse is particularly brutal. If you should ever leave me, well, life would still go on, believe me. The world could show nothing to me, so what good would living do me? Lyrics like this would still raise eyebrows if a mainstream artist sung it today, so I can only imagine the reception this track got over 50 years ago. Regardless, Paul McCartney has been on record saying that this is the best song ever written. And I can see where he's coming from. It's phenomenal. There's something about Wilson's vocals that really embody that heartbreak. God Only Knows is truly a masterpiece within the body of Pet Sounds' masterpiece. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That is track 8, after all. The reason why this album was such a risk was because the general perception of the band previously was songs about surfing and girls. To go from that subject matter to a track like I Know There's an Answer was pretty bold at the time, to say the least. One thing that really surprised me while listening to this album were its sonic interludes, Let's Go Away for a While and Pet Sounds. Wilson believed that pop music could be orchestrated like classical music rather than the general 1-5-4 chord structure that pop usually follows. I just didn't expect any tracks without lyrics from a band that was considered a boy band by some. This orchestral sound is present throughout the entire record, and that was what made the album so different at the time. But boy, did it pay off in the long run. Absolutely.
Where did your long hair go? Where is the girl I used to know? How could you lose that happy glow? Oh, Caroline, no.
Caroline No blew me away when I first heard it. It truly captures the spirit of the entire record. A lover who bemoans the changes in his love life. That's kind of the motif throughout the entire record. This time, that motif is captured by Wilson singing about his lover cutting her hair. The arrangement is beautiful, and the feeling it captures, wrapping up the entire album, makes its place as the final track on the record the perfect fit. Caroline No is basically the bow on the package of this masterpiece. Pet Sounds was the first Beach Boys record to not crack 1 million copies within the first year of its release, and Wilson was getting pretty scared. That fear was dispelled just a little later when the UK critics began to understand and appreciate how intricate and progressive the album was. Pet Sounds brought complex orchestrations, ambitious lyrical arrangements, and the concept album to pop music. So to answer my question from the beginning of this review, yeah, of course it holds up. This album is far over twice my age, and even still, it's enjoyable to the point where, as soon as I finished it, I immediately started playing my favorites again. Wouldn't it be nice? God Only Knows, I Know There's an Answer, Here Today, Caroline No, but I'm gonna stop myself before I list pretty much the entire track list. Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys is a classic, an absolute masterpiece if there's ever been one. I'm gonna give this album a 10 out of 10.